Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ozzy's Drives. Today I'm presenting this, the Lexus LS600hL, the pinnacle flagship of the Japanese market. However, it is now a bargain to buy because this had a whopping starting price of around $130,000 and today you can get it for $40,000. But is it worth it? Let me show you. This car at first you would never think that it is a luxury limousine. It kind of looks like an extended Toyota Corolla. It's very understatement. The only thing that gives it away a little bit is the excessive use of chrome elements around the door, around the windows, and then in the back, the beautiful shaped exhaust pipes, the chrome a little bit, the huge taillights, but still, it could have been a normal limousine, right? It is when you go in detail though, that will show you that this is an absolute masterclass of luxury and engineering. 5 meters and 20 in length, 2.8 tons, but I will tell you one thing, the interior will surprise you. But before we go into that, let me show you the engine. Let me pop the hood and show you what the engine is all about on the Lexus LS600hL. Look at that. This is the cleanest engine bay I have ever seen. And it is a 5-liter V8 engine producing 438 horsepower in total. It has an ECVT transmission, which means seamless, right? Very seamless transmission from Toyota and Lexus. And it's a very interesting car to drive, in all honesty. This will accelerate from 0 to 100 kph in 6.3 seconds. And it isn't really about being efficient, it uses quite a lot of fuel, 12 to 15 liters depending on how you drive, but they wanted to make it as fast as the German competitors, and they have the same power figures, right? Around 440 horsepower. However, I cannot give you a sound because it has a rev limiter at 2000 RPM, but I can show you something else, the interior. Come on with me. Welcome to the front passenger row of the Lexus LS600hL, and I can tell you one thing, we have to separate this into two things: leather materials used and then the technology used. So first of all, have a look at this font. Come on, look at that, beautiful leather used. Wood and leather combined, leather on the side of the door, leather everywhere the eye looks, literally. Even those little panels here are covered in leather, even the buttons that they're using, the gear knob, the steering wheel, leather and wood. The seats are so comfortable, you wouldn't even believe it. Everything covered in leather, headrest covered in leather, and then you touch this Alcantara, which is one of the best Alcantaras I have ever experienced. It's so smooth on the finger, it's truly amazing to sit in. Also, the car is around 13 years old and has 180,000 kilometers, and still everything is properly beautiful to feel and touch. It's really a nice thing to be in. However, the technology is also something fascinating for that age. Let us start this thing up, and as you can see, a lot of things are happening simultaneously. Here we have a bunch of buttons. This is logically the driving modes which you need as a driver. For example, if we go into detail, you will have the comfort mode, right? Where you can see on the speedometer that we are in comfort mode. If you switch to sport, check this out, bam, all of a sudden you have an RPM range on the left side of the speedometer. Very, very cool. Another thing that I find rather interesting is just how the buttons are placed and how all of this looks. I mean, it looks absolutely beautiful in my opinion. Look at that beautiful Lexus watch here, the clock in the middle, the climate openings, the air vents, the buttons, the way the buttons feel when you press them. Look at that silver trim here, very beautiful. And then the power button in a dark blue, it's just everything feels very, very luxurious. Kind of like an S-Class and a 7 Series combined. It's funny. And then even here, look at that leather around. And something also that is interesting is other cars have used touchscreens, or some, I don't know, like iDrive system style, but look at that. They didn't use a touchscreen. This feels like a mouse mover. If I move this here, I feel a little vibration and I see it on the screen. That is very interesting. And if you go to map, you can even move around with that. Look at that. You can even move around. So it's a little bit strange to do, but it has it has a logic, it's not just dumb, a feature you can't use. It's really logical, and it gives you vibration so you feel where you are with the buttons. That is very interesting. Since we are in the driver's phone, we have a lot of things that we can choose to do. Look at that. You can adjust the passenger seats if you're transporting someone. You can even adjust the rear seats, and you can turn off the cooled and heated seats over this little turning knob here. That is also very interesting. I have not seen this before. But the real party starts in the back passenger seat, you know, the chauffeur's seat, the boss's seat. So let's go there and let me show you this. All right, here we are in the back of the Lexus LS600hL, and as you can see, this is called the executive pack, which comes with a lot of things that you can do. For example, this. I don't feel like I have enough space here, so I'm just going to press this button and the front seat will disappear and leave me with a lot of space to enjoy. The car is 5 meters and 20 long, as I explained, and have a look at that. It's not just folding the seat, you know, it's also doing a bunch of things to it. For example, the headrest will remove completely. It will disappear somewhere, which I've never seen before. Look at that. Up and then pop, it's folding down. Very, very interesting. Another thing that you can do is obviously change this, which is called the Ottoman. I believe Ottoman, I don't know really why they use this name, but you can adjust here the footrest. You know, it's coming up and down. Very, very good by the press of a button. Another thing that you can do is actually give yourself some privacy. Look at that. Privacy curtain, everything automatically. Very nice, very beautiful to see. You have some ashtray here on the right side, for example, and that's it for the seat. You can also adjust and set everything here and memorize it how you want it. You know, it's interesting. If you have a client and you're a chauffeur, you can do that for your client. So another thing that you have is this. You have cup holders right here in the middle, but this is not so interesting. You have a climate control here for all the seats, and you even have cooled seats in the back and heated seats. Look at that with a beautiful animation. Then have a look at this. You got one remote, which is controlling one thing. The screen coming down from the ceiling. Look at that. You can watch TV and do everything. How would you do it without disturbing everybody? Well, very simple. This here, and normally you would have two wireless headphones that you could put on to enjoy music and watch TV. That is by itself crazy to experience, especially in a car from 2013. But then, if you are not into watching TV, you have this, which is the remote control for one of the greatest massaging stools I have ever experienced. Press program, press the power button here, and you will have a beautiful massage like in a fat, thick massaging stool. Absolutely wonderful. It really is beautiful to experience. And if that wasn't enough, let's say you're having a beautiful, relaxing drive, right? And you need, I don't know, a drink or something like that. You would have the cup holders here, as I explained, but you have something else. Press this button. Look at that. A table. And it's not just some sort of table. They actually have proper wood on top and leather trim everywhere around. And the way this car is in the interior, the smoothness that is applied to it is just unseen. Look at that. It's just so smooth. Let me show you another thing. Talking about smoothness, just have a look at the motion this thing is doing, for example, in the front row armrest. Look at that. Come on. Come on, really. Look at that. It's just so smooth. It's silky smooth. I could do this all day long. It's so satisfying. No pressure applied, just a little touch, and it does everything by itself. That's crazy. You can even adjust the position of the seat belt. Check this out. I mean, this is truly amazing, really. Smoothness applied to this car is when you're closing the door. Look at that. Look at that. You know, soft close, normally we know about soft close by now, but it has a certain way of closing the door, which is insane, especially for such a heavy door. And another thing that is as smooth as silk is actually the engine. Let me show you. The way the engine runs is just, you know, when you're driving so many cars, you could feel it. The car has almost 200,000 kilometers. The owner has told me, beside of changing the oil, he has not done everything to this car, not changed a single sensor. It's crazy to experience, really is. And another very smooth thing is how it drives. So let's do that. Normally I would have fixed the camera on the front window to give you sort of the driving experience with me. But today I felt, you know what? Let's hold it and show you how smooth the ride is, because this feels literally like you are on a boat, like you are on water. It's so comfortable to sit in. It's absolutely insane. It really is. I mean, just hovering along here, for example, it's crazy. Let me accelerate a little bit to around 80-90 kph. It feels very powerful, you know. It's not too fast. It has this gentle acceleration, but the V8 gives away that this is a powerful car. But look at that. This is 80-90 kph. You cannot hear a single thing from the outside. It is without a doubt one of the smoothest drives ever. I don't think that anything could actually make me feel better than this Lexus right now. Maybe a Rolls-Royce, but I can tell you one thing. I didn't feel that comfortable in the latest Bentley Continental. So check this. Seamless. And when we put it into sports mode, and now press the kick down, it's actually pretty good. It's not too fast, but it's still pretty nice. You know, it's not a sporty car. If you're thinking about driving sporty, this car is not for you, my friend. But if you want to feel ultimate luxury, this is it. This is truly amazing to experience. And it's reliable. As I told you, the owner told me he has two of them. One with 380,000 kilometers, the older model of this, and the later model, the one that we're driving right now. This feels amazing. Absolutely amazing. And especially with the double glass here, with the thicker glass, you cannot hear anything. Check this out. Whole world outside, noise, 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 noise. Boom. Nothing. Even the way it closed the windows. Look. You know, it's fast at first, but then it gets slower. This is truly amazing. It's truly an amazing drive. It really is. Very, very comfortable and very nice to experience. All right, since this has this eCVT gearbox, it's not really easy to show you the sound, right? We cannot rev it to 7,000-8,000 RPMs without exceeding 250 kph, right? So yeah, that's it. It basically always stays sort of in the gear. And what I also don't get is I can choose from gears, but since this has an eCVT with those two electric engines in the gearbox, I don't really get what that means. You know, it's kind of calculating, I don't know, it's really difficult to explain. It's kind of calculating the speeds we're driving in, and if I put it into first gear, it will let it rev to around, so let's say I'm at 40 kph now at 3,000 RPM. When I now step on the throttle in what is first gear, it will just stay at around 5,000, 4,500 RPMs until I reach, I don't know, 150 kph. So it's very strange. It's not a typical ZF automatic or something like that. It has this old school eCVT, yeah, gearbox. I'm not really a fan of it, I'll be honest. I would have preferred it to have proper gears, you know, where we can shift through, because I don't really get that, you know. And I think it would be very quick if it would have that, especially with the all-wheel drive system. But other than that, friends, I mean, just as a comfortable daily driver, this is peak automotive. I'll tell you plain and honest. Yeah, that's as far as we can take it with this Lexus LS600hL. Would I buy it? I don't really think I would buy the hybrid. I would just buy the normal V8. But I'm so surprised that I will probably go to some auto trading sites and see how much those cost. If I find a bargain, I could picture myself driving one of those daily. I'm pretty honest. I think this is really amazing, and especially in terms of reliability, this is top class. Yeah, and that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you, and see you on the next one. Goodbye.